Hello everyone. I hope you're all online, that you can hear us. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming, for joining us for our first webinar, which will be on guerrilla marketing. Today with me are Nedim J and Aldijana O. Because of some technical issues, it will be all together on this one chat. If you have any questions, please ask in this row of chat. It will be like this. The Nedim will talk about 20 minutes, then Aldijana will talk about 20 minutes, and after that we have a session of questions and answers for 20 minutes as well. If we see, I will checking the questions, so if I see that there is a lot of same questions or issues, I will choose one. So I hope everyone will leave this webinar with answers, actually. So I would give a floor to Nedim J now, and please enjoy and be careful with listening.
Hello everyone. So the idea was to present sort of activist ideas and what we were doing during the youth initiative, but also on our personal. Don't touch two laptops. We have two laptops here. It's magical. Crucial idea about this webinar will be for us to try to explain certain activities we did. Especially when it comes to online marketing. We don't call it actually marketing, but online actions which actually manage to have certain degree of better outreach than the other ones, the failed ones. Nice. So the idea is simple. I will do some sort of online actions experience, while Aldijana will do more on what we did on the ground. Basically, I will just start with few points related to what general sense of online actions should be in order to get better outreach. I would just like to underline that we are no experts in this field, but this is only how, from activist point of view, we manage to do such things. So for any sort of actions like online gathering, it's essential not to be project driven, of course, and to have this genuine sense of capacity within the community. How come? It means like that our activists are actually feeling the connection with the project and the idea, and they are not doing it only because it has hashtag. If you have one hashtag, it doesn't mean it will be something useful and it will get wider attention. It's also essential that when we are creating any sort of project, any sort of motto, slogans, and so on, we do it on the individual basis. So any group thinking, it's not really desirable when it comes to this idea of guerrilla actions. It's better to have one or two creative persons and then to share these ideas to the others as sort of focus groups. Because if you have a lot of people involved, then everybody thinks they are smarter than the others, or on the other case, everybody thinks that they are stupider than nobody says anything, and I was like, everybody's saying anything, and nothing happens. So, from my point of view, I would like to discuss the point we were doing on Facebook. Yeah, it's about a group of people. It's 4 of us who wanted to try to avoid condemnations and questioning of public, yet mock certain situations in general society in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We did it through one Facebook page. It's funny enough. How do you translate it?
Relevant.
Okay, it's called Relevantna razna duhovitosti, and it's used as sort of political critique, and actually managed to get sort of popularity in Bosnia. Not so great. There are even popular things here, but in Sarajevo they like us. Okay, we are really urban oriented. So much. So 2 years, it's like it exists for now already 4 years, and it managed to gather fans. Nevertheless, it hardly reached any mainstream social media and hits in popularity. When we take a look at some examples now, just to how do you push this?
You want the screenshot?
No. Okay. Never mind. So what was many crucially important when we were trying to build up this? It was important to have the group of people who gather around and try to make as clear as possible certain political ideas. However, on the other side, to make it understandable for the younger generations. So younger generation means like 17 to 24. Majority of our audience are high school students. That's weird enough. I don't know why, but that's the case. And we tend to maintain the activity of page during the every day, every few hours, in order to make it possible. At the beginnings, we were accused actually that we were funded by international, that we were funded by some projects and so on, by certain political parties. However, we managed to maintain our political neutrality during the phases, and actually managed to reach to the important figures in a society. So, second important point on our way to get popularity is the fact that we got engaged in certain community issues with especially hip hop artists in our region, but also actors and people from our public life, connecting them and actually managing to become more to gain this authority. However, when we take a look at what are the projects of YouthLINC, it seems like it's really hard to go through this, because sometimes our comments tend to be politically questionable and get over the line when it comes to certain standards of communication. However, this is at this point, it's for us, it's important to have to have this sense that we are actually doing some beneficial work, and this work is connected to the community. When it comes to projects of YouthLINC, maybe it could be used as such, and this is first using humor, using satirical comments in order to make it more visible to others. This is like the issue of Active Balkans or Kai Breba or other Facebook pages and projects you were doing. It's crucial for you to use your own personal network in order to develop popularity of your Facebook pages, and not just to go through the basic standards of communication like having Twitter or Instagram or so on. It doesn't mean anything. The crucial issue is to see yourself as a genuine one. And when it comes to the campaigning, it's first issue we need to answer when we want to do any sort of campaigning is what are your motives to take part in this? So why do we actually work on this? It's the question you need to ask every time you do. What's your focus audience? So if your focus audience are youth, it's just essential to see who are those, and do you want to actually provoke the people who are outside of your branch, or just your own thinking, people who think like you, and so on. The next important point is who will be in your team, and for this it's very important to have people who are like witted and creative as you are, and but it's also essential to know who is in charge and who actually makes the final decisions. Fourth point is to create your own message and never let somebody else to change your messaging to the audience. It's important to have at least 4 or 5 specific messages, and when it comes to specific campaigns, it's also essential to have one motto which can be used as such. However, when we are doing campaigns, it's also important. Do we have any money? So you don't have money or not? And if we have any money, then we talk about targeted marketing and what so on. But I don't think so that in Balkan audience, targeting marketing through Facebook media is essential to get popularity. Even it actually makes you a bit more difficult to get to your original or organic audience itself. There are 3 ways how we do basic campaigns through the Facebook and through the internet on any sort of action. And this is the general one. I wanted to take this in an example of making an election campaign and how in 3 ways political parties actually react and so on. How we can actually react. For example, on the example of mobilizing youth for going out to the election, we're using this. So first of all, there is this first general idea that our campaign lasts as everyone else's campaigns last, and this is like 1 month before election, for example, on mobilizing youth. However, on that point, you have a huge amount of content created in your own community. So in that way, it's very hard to get reach, which would go. What's this? Which would go beyond your audience. So it's very hard to get any sort of attention once everyone are within the campaign. In this sense, it's essential to start first. So if you start first, then you're actually beneficial. You cannot think about slogans with your groups and so on. If you are doing this 1 month or 2 months before election, it's very important to make your idea creative and make it very narrowed down and few months before, in order to have sort of idea what you want to do. If you involve too many people in thinking about what will be our message, then you will get stuck in trying to find a perfect message, while you will not be able to find perfect message, because there is no perfect message. There are only like things that can glow within focus groups, but it can also be a total waste of time. For us, it was very important to have a sort of balanced approach. On one side, it's using serious topics. On the other side, using very funny ones and connecting them in order to get better reach. However, when it comes to Facebook, the idea of reach is very complicated, especially when it comes to specific posts used on social media, because each has its own individual audience and individual reach. So if you want to have some complicated message, which will not be understood by some of the people, it's not important how many people you have actually on your Facebook and so on. If it's something that's complicated, it will not get the reach of your usual simple messages. And this is actually all the points we wanted to discuss now. Hope we will be able to continue on this, trying to connect it with our ground actions. What's also important is the fact that no online action or messaging can actually deliver mass reach in actual reality. So never count on this. Even today in basic campaigning in Bosnia and Herzegovina or so on, social media has very little approach and very little influence, and it targets very limited audience. If we want to talk about how we use guerrilla actions to change stuff, it's very important to have this groundwork and ground actions, which now Aldijana will be happy to share with us. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I hope you can hear me. So Nedim was speaking more about the online sphere. I'm gonna just share a couple of experiences we had organizing street actions in order to communicate unified message coming from Youth Initiative for Human Rights and covering the area of our entire country, because behind our work it's really important to get unified message from both Federation of Bosnia, Republika Srpska, and Brčko district. So these guerrilla actions and the work we do on the ground is usually gathered around one date. It's 10th of December. So every year we try to include as much cities as we can, and we try to communicate with young people who are engaged in our programs throughout our activities within the year in order to, as I said, send this message. So when it comes to guerrilla actions, it's important to emphasize that we use like unconventional ways to communicate with the wider public who are using public space. So it's really important to get their attention, and being creative, it's one of the essential things to do while communicating messages on the ground. Here I'll share a couple of images from last year, from 10th of December. It was important because we managed to do this simultaneously for 3 days in a row. So throughout 7th of December, 8th of December, 9th of December. So in the morning of the 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day, all of these messages were unified and were distributed throughout different small communities, and especially divided communities in Bosnia. So you can see we basically used all of the free space we could find, even the legal place for posting messages, but also every other available place. When it comes to communicating the message you want to send, I agree with Nedim. It's really hard to have different voices heard and then unify them in one message. And before doing every action, we have meetings where we discuss, of course, the idea and the final goal which we want to use. What's really important with doing these actions, it's important to think about the time and to think about the place where you want to communicate your message. So we often also use spaces near the ministries and the spaces near the cultural institutions. You can see also on the pictures we use the abandoned places in the town as well, and as you can see on some of the pictures, additional messages were added on the things we were distributing throughout the cities. While doing guerrilla actions, it's good to do them throughout the night. I mean, during the late evening, where you don't have much traffic on the streets. We also, besides this actions, we did also one planting the trees. Sorry, for the International Day to fight against homophobia. So the idea of this action was to plant 2 trees next to each other and to send the message of cohabitation and then living together, peace, unity, and love. What's also important while doing these things, it's okay to get the public attention, but it's also important to distribute the message in a press release after doing an action, where you can furthermore elaborate on the action you had, and to make sure that your message is communicated also in an online sphere, but throughout the media. And to do this, it's also important to have, as you already might know, it's important to have contacts with the media, just to make sure that the things you do will get the attention needed. So that's the ideas I wanted to share with you. I hope you have some questions, and I hope we can now go to this Q&A session and maybe share our thoughts and and ideas you also had in your own countries, but I believe all of the methods we use are quite similar, and that's it.
Thank you, Aldijana and Nedim. Please, if you have any kind of question, don't go through microphone, but please write them here in chat so we can see them and properly answer to them. I will leave like a few minutes for your questions, because until now I don't see any kind of questions. Probably you're satisfied and or everything is clear with to you from their presentations. So maybe if there is no one, I don't know, do you have any one of you to some additional to say something more or not? Okay, since we don't have any kind of question, I suppose that they really make it really good presentations, so you are still like you're speechless. Thank you for coming, and I would like to say also that we'll have another webinar in April. You will be notified. It will be about it will be held by blind people and about their how do they use the internet and other how do they live with that actually. So thank you once again for coming and see you soon. Bye.
All right.